Weekend Live on SABC2. A warm welcome if you've just joined us. 3 Cigarettes is a short film directed, produced and written by Durban-based Stephen de Villiers. The film has an all-South African cast and the crew are all under the age of 23. The movie takes a look at significant turning points in the lives of 3 very different South Africans. It premieres at the Durban Film Festival starting next week. Stephen's in our Cape Town studios, not to be confused with his origins in Durban. Hi, Stephen.
Morning, hi.
I suppose a good place to start, for the sake of our viewers who have not seen the film, what's the plot? How does it work?
It's always difficult to sort of pitch the film. Funnily enough, it's actually got harder as it's gone along. Because what it is, it's basically three short stories. I think, yeah, viewers will get basically 3 for the price of 1. But what it is, it's 3, as you mentioned, very different people, really, whose worlds all come basically colliding together, if you will, in quite a tight, coherent climax. And I've sort of looked at it and explored it using the somewhat, I hope, unique bracketing device of the length of time it takes each character to smoke a cigarette.
Where do we position a film like this? I imagine difficult also to thread these 3 short stories into a cohesive film. Where do we position this kind of genre? Do you have one?
Absolutely, very challenging. And I mean, the greatest challenge throughout the whole process as the director really was, as you mentioned, sort of maintaining this coherent vision, because the sort of potential and in fact the joy of making the film, paradoxically, even though it was also challenging, was exploring the sort of the versatility and the variety of each narrative. And you rightly mentioned the difficulty of giving it a genre, but it's an intense story. It's a story about personal conflicts, about human social interaction. So it's a drama, for lack of better word, really.
It certainly examines the motivation behind people's actions. What has that taught you about the human condition?
Sure. Tricky, but...
Are we crazy?
What happened... I guess so. I mean, looking at the characters, they're very unlike me, arguably. There's a young 20-something-year-old bride who's about to walk down the aisle smoking a last nervous cigarette. And then there's a sort of middle-aged man who's also sort of facing a similar crisis, well, similar, but a similarly intense crisis, if you will. He's about to rob a store. And then lastly, there's a young girl, also 20-something, who's just fallen pregnant, and she's about to meet the ex-boyfriend to tell her, you know, what's happened and how they're going to go forward. So arguably, the characters have very little in common with myself, but there's definitely elements in each character that has obviously given the genesis of each conflict that I have in myself.
Stephen, would you say that the cigarette is perhaps another character in this movie?
Not so much a character, rather a metaphor for the sort of ephemeral nature of life. Really what I was wanting to do was look at how we sort of live in this continual ticking clock, and we're forced to make choices all the time, and we face dilemma, and it's about characters hitting crossroads and needing to take a left or a right turn. And I guess that sort of dilemma is really the essence of conflict, of story, and indeed of life. So the cigarette becomes, yeah, like I say, just a metaphor for a moment.
You talk also about the joy of working on this film and the paradox therein. I imagine a number of challenges, a very young cast. What were some of those little battles you had to win?
Sure. It was just a ridiculous schedule, really. I mean, the film's sort of sitting on about 42 minutes in terms of its runtime, and we shot over 7 days. So it's half the length of a feature, you could say. And we were just shooting at a ridiculous pace, really. I mean, averaging about 30 to 40 shots a day. So, I mean, on average, literally like 15 minutes a shot, which is sort of unheard of, really. But we didn't have a choice. It was like literally, we can afford to hire the equipment for this many days. So this is how much script we need to cover. Do the maths, and you've got 7 days. What do we do? Just go out and try, really.
Do you think that people in South Africa understand the challenges that filmmakers, specifically younger filmmakers, face in this country? I mean, is it difficult to make a film?
Yeah, I mean, you can't do it justice by saying yes. It's a 2-year-long process. I mean, 3 Cigarettes was literally, we exported the film as a final, literally locked off complete product yesterday. So it's quite nice timing talking to you guys now. And the film had its origins a good two and a half years ago. So you have to be incredibly passionate about this topic that you feel the public needs to hear. And you really have to question that and have the staying power. But I mean, from a sort of a technical or pragmatic point of view, yeah, immense challenges. We had zero budget. It wasn't a question of ever having money. So you've really got to inspire people to want to work with you and donate generously of their time, which they all did. I mean, the fact that the film exists now as a finished, complete entity is tribute to the remarkable help that I had on the projects. The crew, the cast, everyone worked for free. We got incredible discounts from all of our facility houses. We got catering sponsored. Everyone just chipped in a little bit. And I mean, parents, you know, they really help young filmmakers in this country. I believe that.
Well, you've certainly done a good job of selling it on this program. Thanks very much indeed, and good luck with the future.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to it.
Stephen de Villiers joining us from our Cape Town studios. If you would like to see this movie, it is premiering at the Durban Film Festival on the 24th of July.